What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? We are back for part 2, y'all, of our discussion and a recap of the 2023-2024 NCAA athletic season.
Redo that one. Sorry, I had water in my mouth as you were doing the intro.
Oh, you're good. You're good. No worries. What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? We are back for part 2, y'all, of our 2023-2024 NC State athletic season recap through the eyes of Greg the Leg himself, y'all. If you haven't checked out part 1 yet, make sure to go do that first and foremost, where we talk about the football season, talk about the ACC tournament runs for men's and women's basketball. So go check those out and then come right back here, y'all. But picking right back up where we left off, Greg. So, it's still crazy to think about how, you won the ACC championship, first time in, over 30 years that, NC State's won any kind of championship in men's basketball, football, or baseball. And then 5 days after that, you have to go play Texas Tech in the first game of the season, in the first game of the NCAA tournament run, which I think a lot of people don't really think about. Being like, man, like you're living high, but you have to very, very quickly put that behind you and move right back on to another basketball game. But talk to me, Greg, in terms of like, was there any doubt, or like, did you how long was the conversation to decide if you were going to go to the Texas Tech game or not?
Yeah. So for me, it ended up being in Pittsburgh, which is about a 4-hour drive. So it's like driving to Raleigh. And at that point I was like, yeah, we're doing this. Like we're locked in. Yeah. We just won an ACC championship. Don't know, to your point, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I have to go see how it's going to turn out. And I'm riding the wave, right? I've already gone 5 games in 5 days. We haven't lost, I as a fan, you're like, maybe I'm the good look guy, and so you got to be there. And so I said, you know what? I looked at my wife and I said, you good? She's like, yep, I guess I'm good. So I got in the car and drove to Pittsburgh.
All right, good. And so remind me too, was the Texas game, the Texas Tech game was first and then Kentucky at Oakland was second.
Other way around.
Other way around? Okay.
Yeah. Kentucky Oakland was first and then we were the second game.
So were you in the stands for that Kentucky Oakland game?
I think I got in just before the end of the first half.
Okay.
And it was an interesting, that's, I think to me, that's the fun part of these tournaments. When you have these underdogs, you get, you could have neutral fans that are just there from Pittsburgh to watch basketball, or you could have, there were some other teams that were playing there, like I think South Carolina and Oregon were playing there. And so you had some of their fans, and Creighton, they were playing there. And so you have those guys and ladies that are just kind of watching basketball. And so these fans start flocking to the story, right? And that crowd. And Kentucky travels. I think Kentucky probably had 5,000-6,000 people in there. I mean, it felt at least that many, maybe more.
Oh yeah.
And I think that arena holds like 18,000-19,000. So you had Kentucky versus all y'all in the arena.
Yeah. So I'm sure. Because were you cheering for Oakland? I mean, I'm sure you were cheering for Oakland during that game, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was just a fun thing. And because you're just watching it and you're watching it develop and you're thinking, these boys are hanging. Like, can this happen? Yeah. And then you'd see the big boy make a run. You're like, okay, that was fun while it lasted. Now the big boy is going to take over the higher seed. And every time Kentucky made a run, Oakland had an answer with one of the many threes that one guy put up. I can't remember his name, the white kid. It like he was like a D2 player too, if I remember correctly. Like he wasn't even like he was just like
he was a nobody.
Yeah, he was no. I mean, but he reminded me of like a poor man versions of Scott Wood. I mean, the dude was just long. I mean, that's all he shot. I think he took like 10 2-pointers the whole year.
Right. That's what I was about to say. Like, I think he had single digit 2-point shot attempts for the entire season. Yeah. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about, like, I'm sure you had to get a lot of laughter, a little bit, just at the Kentucky faces that you probably saw around you. Like, the shock was probably just crazy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had some jerk Kentucky fans that were sitting in the Wolfpack Club section. So that's a story for another time. And
story for another time.
I was, elated that they lost when it was all said and done. And I looked at some people, and some people around me were like, these people are ridiculous. And they were just giving me a bunch of nonsense. And then the State fan was not much better, and we'll leave it at that. But all the other fans were like, thank goodness they lost. Like, thank goodness, because now we don't have to deal with them on the next game, because they would have probably been sitting right there had they won. And so I always say karma is undefeated, and they deserved everything that they got. And you know, you talked about earlier about Kelly Harper's last game against State. That was John Calipari's last game as a Kentucky coach. He lost to Oakland, which most people didn't even know where Oakland was until the tournament happened. Like, they couldn't even tell you. They would have probably told you California because of Oakland, California, but that wasn't the case. Right. And the fact that he lost to that school with that team, right? Because he had a top 10 pick in Rob Dillingham. It was just, you know, it was poetry.
Yeah, no. Even though, again, I mean, that would have honestly been an ironic way if we would have had the opportunity to face Kentucky and face the former NC State commit in Robert Dillingham. Yep. And if we would have had the opportunity to take him out, that would have been so sweet.
That would have been sweet too.
But you know, so talk to me about those two games, the, you know, experience in Pitt, you know, against Texas Tech and against Oakland. Is there a game that stands out to you really with your memories between the two?
Well, so a real fun story real quick about the Texas Tech game after the game. And I think I shared the picture with everybody. There was a Texas Tech fan in the State hotel, and like Coach Keats was giving them like a counseling session. Like, they were kind of sitting on the couch talking to each other. And I think we even did a tweet on it. Like, hey, like, what were they discussing? I think you put that out before. So to me, that was something that stood out. That was pretty funny. And then, you know, Coach Keats just kind of giving the kid a couple of minutes of his time. I thought that was pretty funny. But I just think the way that Oakland game went, where that last possession before overtime that we locked them down when they had a chance to win, because you knew exactly what was going to happen with that kid probably putting up a three, and the fact that they didn't even get off a shot. Once that happened, I thought, okay, we're gonna be able to take control in overtime. But it was just a weird game with guys fouling out, and then you had the one guy for I think it was Townsend for Oakland. He went off, and so we almost lost because we put too much emphasis on the one guy. But the other thing that just really stands out is how well Casey Morsell played in that game. He just locked him down when it was necessary. And then when I think was it Mo that fouled out, then he went and got on Townsend and locked Townsend down to where, and then I believe it was Jaden Taylor switched over to their best shooter, and it was just a really well done, executed overtime.
Well, because remember too, not because Diarra fouled out and Ben Middlebrooks fouled out, so they basically had to put Jaden Taylor in to play the 4 spot.
You're right. It was Jaden Taylor on Townsend, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, I had him backwards.
But yeah, no, I actually watched that game back a couple of days ago, and the refereeing was god awful.
It was suspect.
It was so bad. Yeah, it was so bad. But anyway, so then you go and face Marquette and Duke, and remind me, where did those games take? Were those in Cleveland?
Dallas.
Where was Dallas? That's right. Yeah. So and this is kind of, you know, I know this is kind of through the eyes of Greg, but I want to just lay this story out for everybody, because honestly, like this is. Like, so basically me and my cousin, I mean, obviously him and I both big time NC State fans. We had an opportunity like probably 8 months before that when the concert guy announced that Avenged Sevenfold, the heavy metal band, was coming to PNC. And so we bought tickets, you know, we knew it was in March. We were like, probably not gonna have to worry about it. So we bought tickets, not even thinking twice about it. And it just happened to be that concert was the same day as us playing Marquette, and then the women's basketball playing Stanford, I believe it was. And then, because I can't remember. Stanford first and then Texas. Yep. And so literally, like, I'm telling y'all, like, I really wish there was like a drone that just had a down shot of us, because like you see all these people around us that are standing up and like, you know, rocking hard and stuff, and then you see me and my cousin literally just sitting down in our chairs, just like me having the men's basketball game, him having the women's basketball game on.
I didn't know we're just watching them back and forth.
Yeah, no, like literally, I'm looking at the men's game. She's looking, and we'd be like bump each other like, hey, look. And
that's hilarious.
And, I think it was the women won first. And so then I started getting on Twitter and started, oh my gosh, we won. And then, and then he switched, he's watching the men's game, and like, we're both like freaking out on Jazz. In the meantime, like, Avenged Sevenfold was literally singing right there and all these people around us. And I totally felt we were getting judged 100%, being like, what the hell are these two losers doing, paying all this money, and, to come see a concert, and they're sitting on their butt watching, on their phones. And I was just like, hey, listen, y'all, like, like I didn't actually say this, but like, if anybody were to ask me, I'd be like, listen, I had no idea, but fortunately enough, there was other priorities that came up that I had to focus on. So again, just a crazy story there for me, for sure. That me and my cousin will never forget that. Being like, oh my God, we were at a rock concert and we were just sitting there on our phones watching NC State beat Marquette and then women beat Stanford. But yeah, so talk to me about Marquette and Duke. I mean, like, both those games significant, definitely huge wins for sure. Tough games for sure. Yeah. With Marquette, one of the best players in college basketball at the time that you were going up against. And then Duke, a little bit of a revenge factor there, being that we knocked them out of the ACC tournament. So between those two games, Greg, what really stands out to you the most, in terms of memories, moments?
Yeah, again, the defense, right? You that Marquette game, you were just like, okay, what are we going to get from our squad versus their squad? Because they came in very hyped up. They were, what were they? The 2 seed, 3 seed? I'm trying to remember.
Marquette was 2 and Duke was 4.
4, yeah. And so, yeah, again, at this point, we were very battle tested. You're on a 7-game win streak. All the confidence, momentum, all of those things. And I think that was kind of a common thread. Are those things going to translate to the next round? Because it's a week off. When you're winning, you don't want to not play meaningful games. You want to keep going. And so that was a thing. And the way that State just played defense again, and Marquette didn't shoot well. And so is it like, okay, is it Marquette not shooting well? Is it State's defense? And State wasn't getting enough credit for what they were doing defensively. Everyone was like, well, Marquette's just choking this game away, blah, blah, blah. Like the narrative was never positive in State's direction or favor, which at the end of the day, I don't care. Give me a W. Just get the W and move on to the next one. But I thought again, the crowd was going pro State in those games because we were the underdog. The one thing we didn't talk about Pittsburgh was against that Oakland game. It was us against the whole arena again because, you would have thought we'd have been the Cinderella story, but there was a bigger Cinderella story that was potentially developing. And so I just thought we just did a great job of staying in the moment, playing within our framework and just executing. Yep. We just executed so well and nothing bothered us. You'd get up, you'd get down. I thought Coach Keats pulled all the right levers and strings, and he had an answer every time he needed something. He used his timeouts very well, especially with dealing with the whole Mohamed Diarra situation, because there was games during the day. I thought he let guys play a little bit through things like with foul trouble. He was a wizard in Dallas.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, again, we really controlled that Marquette game from beginning to end. I mean, it was really never in doubt. And then the Duke game, I mean, that second half was just like the DJ Burns just shoving the basketball down everybody's throat. I mean, that's pretty much all the second half was. Now, again, another funny story once again, I'll remind everybody is that we were struggling at one point. I think it was either late in the first half or beginning of the second half, whatever it may be. And my father-in-law, who's a diehard UNC fan, so of course, during that game, he was just like, I don't want either team to win. I hope if both teams forfeit and get, disqualified, so he was out on our back porch because we were watching the game here at our house. He was on the back porch just sitting, taking in the everything around him. And so I just went out there and just sat with them because we were struggling. I was like, all right, let me see if I could change the mojo. And literally once I go sit out there, we start to run and we start to come back. And then we take the lead. And so literally the entire time, and I posted pictures on Twitter being like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm sitting right here. And of course, in the meantime, my wife and my parents are inside, like they're cheering. I can hear them and they're like, come on, come inside. You don't want to miss us. I'm like, no, I don't care. I'm not moving. I'm staying right here. And cause I was thinking through my head being like, man, if we win this, am I really going to go to the Final Four? I was like, I need to go to the Final Four, but man, that was going to be son of a gun to get there. And it was going to be not easy, but I was like, so like that was all that was going through my head. So I was like, all right, well, listen, I'm going to suck it up because I'm going to win the game, and we're going to win this game, and then hopefully I'll have an opportunity to go to Final Four, and it'll be all worth it. So I don't care, and I can watch it back later. And we won that game, and literally from that moment, Greg, like I remember it was immediate that like you, me, Michael, Ryan Williams, Macon, like all of us were like immediately like on the phones, chatting, texting, whatever, figuring out how the heck we're going to do this. And it was just mayhem. So I mean, think about in that moment, like, so like how long did it take from the moment that the clock hit zero for you to start looking at?
Let me back up a little bit. A couple really cool stories that I had in Dallas.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So Alex Nunley's dad, John, we were able to get some tickets through them and kind of hung out with them and hung out with Hayes Lancaster and Chung Yi and the fun bunch. And I know before the Duke game, I actually ran into Coach Doran and his son on the concourse. And that was the first time that I'd actually seen Coach Doran since I broke my leg. Like I really talked to him after everything had happened. And for people that don't know, like the team, Coach Doran wrote me a personalized hand card. The team sent me a signed football, did lots of wonderful things for me that they didn't have to go out of their way. And so that was my first opportunity to actually thank Coach in person. And for me, that was just a really nice, fun moment. And so if nothing else had happened, that I was able to kind of close the loop on that. But then I had people texting me during the game. Oh, it's been a fun year. It's been fun, blah, 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 blah. And all these, you guys know who you were that reached out to me. So, it's like, look, let's have some faith, guys. Like we've been through this, and and it's believe me, it's easy when you're watching it from home than you're watching it on in person, because you're watching it from home. You can, like you said, you can go outside and distract yourself, and there you just have to oh gosh, this is
suck it up. Yep. You're not getting away from it.
Yeah. But then the second half, everything turned on a dime, like you said. But anyway, so so a little bit further back, I think it was during the ACC tournament that I don't know what it was, why I did it. I reached out to my son, who's 15 now. He was 14 at the time, and I was like, "Look, buddy, if we somehow figure this out and make it to the Final Four, we're gonna go. We'll get out there. We'll have a good time." And so we would kind of text periodically through the run, and soon as the clock hit zero in Dallas and we're regional champs and all the confetti and the pictures and trophy and all that, my first thought was I could take my son to the Final Four. Like, to me, that was like the coolest moment. And so that kind of broke down. I broke down personally because, look, I'm 47 years old. I was 6 years old, almost 7 years old when we went to the Final Four the last time. So it'd been like 40 years, right? Mm-hmm. So I was, is this my only opportunity to go to the Final Four? Maybe this is my kid's only opportunity to go to the Final Four. So we're going to relish it. And I think you saw that, right? When we got out there to Phoenix, you saw generational, dads and sons out there. I think that was, to me, the best part of the whole trip. But yeah, as soon as I got back to the hotel, to answer your question, sorry, long-winded. As soon as I got back to the hotel, it was like, I'm on the phone. I'm actually FaceTiming my wife. Okay. We're like, she's looking these airlines. I'm looking this airline. We get it all booked. Yep. I have to go from DC to Norfolk to get my son, because that's where he lives. And so we flew out of Norfolk, and then we ironically flew right back to Dallas, where I just left 3 days before that. Nice. Having the team won the West Regional. And so we get to Phoenix.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightlands Jessup protects the things you love, so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. And then Phoenix. So, I mean, getting there and the whole experience itself was awesome.
Yeah.
And again, like, you know, I really do wish and hope, you know, in the future. And I know that the NCAA is really trying to expand, you know, the college basketball scene out west, which is why some of these upcoming Final Fours are in the western part of the United States. But I mean, it's definitely a pain in the butt to get out there, which is so, especially since so many teams were from the East, you know, you know, just like, you know, with, you know, Purdue and Bama and UConn, like all of us are on the East side, you know, we're all traveling to the West side.
Makes it more expensive for sure.
Traveling makes it a lot more expensive, especially no doubt.
Because you only know 6-7 days before you get there. So you're paying a premium on an airplane. You know, unless you project and, you know, you've got money where you can, by the way, people think I have money. I don't have money, but, you know, unless you can, you know, book flights, you know, 6 months out and get refunds. And, you know, I mean, you could probably work some of that out, and maybe I'll start thinking about that. But again, we're state fans. We're not used to being there. So we don't think about these things.
Well, that's why people are all like, you know, like, well, I booked a flight out, you know, on April 7th, which was the day after the Purdue game. And then I booked another flight, you know, on the 10th, you know, so that way, you know, whichever one, you know, if we lost or won, I could just cancel the other one. I'm like, I don't know how you have that much time and luxury. Listen, I'm just like, just give me one flight. I'm not going to be all, you know, picking. I want two flights. I want two options. Like, no, I'm like, so that's why we just made a decision to be like, hey, listen, we're just going to book it for the 10th. And, you know, we're just going to just go have a good time. If we lose, you know, in the semifinals, then we'll just find something to do. We'll have a good time. So be it. Yeah, exactly. But, you know, there's so many things that happened. I mean, the Fan Fest was awesome. I mean, that, honestly, like that's probably the biggest thing I would say. It is just not only awesome in terms of just being like that, your team, experiencing your team in the Final Four, but like the NCAA definitely puts on a show. Like the Fan Fest was awesome. The bands, festivities, the games, the
Friday practice where you could go in the arena and watch your team practice.
Yeah, so awesome. Yeah. So, but what was probably your favorite moment of that trip, Greg, besides the game itself, obviously?
Yeah, actually, real quick, I want to back up. We didn't talk about the article that came out in the Fayetteville Observer.
That's right. Yeah, definitely go over that.
Yeah. So I'm sitting in the the airport at Dallas, getting ready to fly home, and then I think it was you. Was it you that sent me a message that they were looking for me? Yeah. Yes, and so I think Rod Baxley was his name. I apologize if I don't have it right, but I'm trying to work from memory. I should have probably looked it up before we did this.
I got you.
But so I'm sitting in the airport waiting for my flight home from Dallas, and I'm giving him an interview and kind of just going out through the story. And so we do that, and then we get out to Phoenix, and I agree that everything about Phoenix was just fun. Taking in just the festivities. I mean, they do a really good job, you know, with concerts and, like you said, the Fan Fest, the Friday practice, everything about it. The only bad thing is, and you kind of said it, it's in a big football stadium. The sight lines are not great. Shout out again, like I said, Alex Nunley's dad, John, he wasn't able to use all his tickets, and so he had two extras. I had already bought my tickets, but he graciously upgraded me, and so I ended up sitting in technically fifth row of actual seats, but because of all the media, you're like in the 30th row to begin with. But just being in the fifth row for the Final Four, it was just with my son. The whole thing was it was surreal. I mean, just 100% surreal. And I talked about it earlier in the first episode. Look, no matter what happens on the court, whether we win or lose, I'm going to have a great time because life is too short. We have no ability to affect the outcome other than cheering for our team. Just go live in the moment. And that was the best part.
Absolutely. No, 100% agree. And again, honestly, like that 15 minutes till tip off was an out of body experience. Like just like looking around the stadium, looking at how many NC State fans were there. Like, I mean, NC State fans showed out.
Remember the pregame party we went to?
Yeah. No, it was
the pregame
awesome.
party was great. One of Hayes's buddies got a private event for us, and I think it was like $50 a head or something. Like, it wasn't $75 a head. It was really reasonable for all the food and drink you could consume in like 3 hours. And we were overlooking the Fan Fest area, so that was just cool, just taking in. The weather was beautiful. Like, it wasn't hot. Like it was April in Phoenix, and you're thinking, man, this place is gonna be 100 dang degrees, and it was beautiful.
It was cold. It was borderline cold.
Yeah. So it was. We couldn't have asked for a better time other than the outcome of the game.
Yeah, no, 100%. So great time for sure. Now, I do want to move on to here, talk a little bit about baseball here for sure. Just like you said, definitely want to talk about the Hawaii trip first.
Yeah.
So you had said, I remember when they booked the Hawaii trip, like it was pretty much from that moment you're like, oh, I'm going. So talk to me a little bit in terms of, the trip, itself, and like the moments to stand out to you, like, the coach and I, statue, all that, like talk about all that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I work for the Army, so people always ask me, what do you do? How are you able to go, do all these trips or whatever? And so the Hawaii trip, we booked a work event out there for the week before, so that made it much easier to afford the cost out there to Hawaii. So I only had to buy one ticket for my wife. My daughter and granddaughter who live in Japan, I got to meet them not meet my daughter for the first time, obviously, but my granddaughter for the first time in Hawaii.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was great. So yeah, we went out for a week, and then we stayed for a week vacation. My parents flew out from South Carolina, so we rented a house, so that, made it awesome. And we just spent a lot of family time out there, and I just couldn't be luckier to spend a week vacation with my family in Hawaii. I thought that was just so much fun. And then we did and then we're like, we got baseball to go to. Like, we had so much fun doing family vacation stuff, and then we had baseball. And I told you in the first episode, when we go on these trips, we try to do other things than just going to a sporting event. So we try to make it a vacation, if you will, or a mini-cation. Yep. And we're out in Hawaii. Funny, I think Angela Fritton, I believe, was who reached out to me, or maybe it was Marcia Scott, Win Scott's mom, or Dom Fritton's mom. They're like, hey, can you stream this for the families? And so I ended up streaming it, and a lot of people have come up and thanked me for it, and happy to do it. Yep. We streamed baseball games on my iPhone, and I went to Best Buy and bought a little Gorilla Pod so I could link it to the railing.
To the railing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we just did a broadcast for baseball, and it was fun. That was so much fun. I hadn't watched a game in that way in some time. Like, you watch a game, but you're really watching it. Now you're, in the game. The last time I probably got that involved, it was just keeping score at a ball game.
Sure.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And because of that, I met so many people. I ended up becoming friends with Amac's girlfriend, Brooke. She reached out to me, and they were so happy that I got his home runs on film, and just those things to me mean a lot. And that's another way how I'm able to meet these people and just have relationships, and very thankful. These people don't have to let me into their lives, and that they do. And I'm very fortunate. And I don't take those things for granted. It's just, it's awesome watching sports through these people's lenses.
Yeah. So moving to as well, for the sake of time, the Raleigh Regional, any stories necessarily stand out about that, or was that one pretty? I don't really remember anything that stands out.
We threw a big tailgate. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. We
always do.
Yeah. We had that big tailgate. I think we had like 75 people, like mostly baseball, friends and family. I thought that was a great event and that's just a thing that we love to do for the families, just to kind of bring them together outside of, the sporting event, just so they can spend some time to, get to know each other and build their relationships. And so we just do that for them. But yeah, the games, I thought we did, just shutting down South Carolina fans, I thought was the best part of my whole thing. You were sitting there, and we talked about it on the podcast before. They were just getting obnoxious, and so just to kind of spur them down, I thought that was the best part of the weekend for me. The JMU fans were great.
JMU was great.
That was a fun weekend.
Yeah. So then going down to Georgia, because it's not really, it's only a little bit of a bigger stadium than ours.
It's about 3,500, about 4,000 when you do standing room only. The facade looks, it's a nice little facility. It's very well we could definitely learn a few things from how they have it. They have a little concourse. I thought it was a great, good college baseball town. Not a lot around the stadium. It's in a neighborhood, which you're driving through a neighborhood and like, oh, there's the University of Georgia's baseball stadium. It was just kind of interesting, but good crowd, good baseball crowd. It was fun. Flew down to Atlanta and rented a car, and it was like an hour and a half drive over to Athens. The best part of that weekend was get to talk to Coach Avon after it and getting a picture with the trophy, and then seeing the guys just having a good time at the local watering hole after winning the championship, and just enjoying their moment. And we've met a lot of the freshman family, and so just seeing them get to Omaha in their freshman year, it's like, oh, now we expect to be here. And I think you're going to see that's going to be the mind frame, because once you do it once and you have a taste for it, you're going to want to keep going back.
Well, and that's really kind of the crazy thing to think about is like when you look at the 2013 year, I mean, that was really the Trey Turner, Carlos Rodon, technically they still had one more year after that, but like that was really kind of basically the peak. And then, in 2021, like that was just like, that you were losing a lot of your core after that. Yeah. But with this team, I mean, most of your core is freshmen, sophomores. So like, just like you said, like those guys at an early age in or early step in their college journey get to taste Omaha. And so for the next 1 to 2 years, like all their expectations are going to be is to get back there and go win it all, which is an awesome thing to feel. Yeah.
And I think when this is all said and done, you remember some names from 2013, like you said, Rodon and Turner. And if you're a baseball guy or gal, you know some other names, but to the average fan, those are the names 21, obviously Sam's name, but then you have guys like
Johnny Butler, Devontae Brown, Austin Murr.
Yeah, so again, you don't have to be a casual baseball fan to know those names. I think when it's all said and done, obviously you have Highfield, you had Logan. You're going to have these freshmen, like, you have Cozart, you're going to have Amac, Pennington. Like, you're going to remember these names, I think, for a lot longer. And these guys are going to do some damage at the next level. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk to me, any other moments or stories that really stand out to you from the Georgia Super Regional?
No, that was pretty much it. It was just, it was interesting because you had those similarities from 21 with the Fayetteville Regional, where we got blasted the first game. We blasted them the first game. We came back and won the second game. They did the second. You were like, okay, now is this going to go exactly the way 21? Or are we going to be able to hold on and advance to Omaha? And so you definitely had some rumblings of that. But these kids, you had 4 or 5 guys. I think you had 6 guys that were on that team from 21 that was in Fayetteville. And so you had some leadership that they wouldn't allow it. And then we went out to dinner with we went out to dinner with a lot of the freshman kids, and they weren't even phased. They're like, okay, we're going to go play ball tomorrow. They were having a good time cutting up at dinner. I was like, bro, the biggest game of my life is tomorrow. I would be like, but they were just like, okay, well, we're going to play tomorrow. I was like, we're good. We're going to win tomorrow. That was my thought. We're like, we're going to win tomorrow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was an awesome time to say the least. Now going back to Omaha for your second time in what, 3 years? First of all, how many of the Jello shots did you buy, Greg?
You're not going to believe this. I did not buy one. I never made it over there.
Really?
I never made it over there. Yeah.
Well, and to be honest with you too, like it's honestly crazy. Like thinking of looking back at what they did last year, where I think like LSU, it's by itself
70,000. What was it?
70,000 Jello shots at $5 a piece. Now, keep in mind that like they donate a lot of that money that they make off that. So, but I mean, they're a business. I mean, I know they make nice off it for sure. And same thing with this year. It was like, people were like, NC State's got to do better. It's like, listen, man, like, this is just a bicep versus bicep whole Jello shot thing. But
it's just crazy getting in that place. Like because of like I remember when I went in 21, it wasn't that insane. But I think the LSU story, like it raised their profile even more. And and so I looked over there a couple times. Like it was a madhouse just to get in the place. I'm like, ain't that serious? Been there, done it, bought the shots. Like I'll let someone else go. And by the way, they're not very good shots. they taste horrible.
Of course.
they taste horrible.
I mean, can you imagine like the couple of people just like 24 hours a day, just like pouring the Jello mix and like, oh my gosh, like it's just crazy. But so 2 games, Kentucky, Florida, 1 game, one run losses, tough, great games, tough losses for sure.
I mean, you could argue those were the best games of the College World Series. I mean, you can definitely make the argument.
Oh, they were phenomenal. Yeah. They were great games for sure. So moments, stories that stand out to you, Greg, from your Omaha experience.
Yeah, again, just seeing it through the parents' lens. That's my favorite. Having been there, done that, I threw out some tips. Just say, hey, like these are some things you may want to look at while you're out there. Just from just passing what little bit of knowledge I had. In no way was I an expert, but if I could help, I was happy to do so. Just seeing the parents, man, like they were so fired up. Seeing Sam's parents. Sam Heifel's parents there, just
couldn't imagine.
Yeah, that was where I met a lot of the baseball family for the first time, was in 21. So just kind of be back there for their final moments of their college career was just surreal. And the Falskins, who were the first family that I met, and Renee and myself, we just cried when it was done, and just hard to believe that we won't be watching a college baseball game with, well, not true. Their youngest son is going to Oregon State, and, they're a powerhouse. So, I told her, like, if Oregon State makes it, I'll come out and cheer him on too. But awesome. Just those moments, the freshman parents seeing it for the first time, the other parents seeing it for the first time, their kid playing in the College World Series. Like, it was just the best part. And meeting more fans that I hadn't met before, people coming up wanting to get a picture. Just so much fun hanging out, and those are memories that I'll have for a lifetime.
Amen. So now recapping all that together, Greg. So it all comes down to 38,475 total miles, 20,262 miles flown, 18,213 miles driven, 70 total NC State sporting events, 31 baseball, 15 men's basketball, 13 football, 9 women's basketball, and 2 wrestling. That's, I mean, are you going to eclipse that next year?
The goal's 100 now.
Goal's 100. Okay. So I know Lindsay Leftwich softball made it very clear that softball needs to be on that list.
It's going to be.
So any other sports going to be added to that list? Or
there's things that I've been meaning to get to volleyball. I haven't done volleyball. I haven't done soccer, both gymnastics. Absolutely. I owe those ladies an event. They talk you up. So I got to get to a gymnastics meet. I want to do it all. There's so much that, if I could get to a cross country or a golf or whatever, I don't know how to do those, but I definitely would do those in a heartbeat, because I definitely want to go to all of the events. Me for the last 3 years, like we spoke earlier, I just want to be there and support every team that I can, whether it's in a championship or just a regular season meet, game, match, whatever. I've done tennis, but I'd like to go to more tennis. It's just hard when you already have spent money for season tickets for these things, and they kind of fall. And here's the other thing. Many people know, but some people don't. I live 4 hours away. It's not like I can just hop on over on a Tuesday for a game or a meet. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. And I typically have an agenda when I go down, but I will figure it out. I will map this out as soon as these schedules start getting released. Women's soccer I know is already out, so I will figure that out.
Which, did you go to a women's tennis match this season?
Not this year. I went to 2 or 3 last year.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of watched it from afar. That doesn't really count because I didn't go in the building, but I watched it from the concourse of baseball.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So that's awesome. All right, Wolfpack Nation. So now you have finally seen the 2023-2024 NCAA athletic season through the eyes of Greg Dulek himself, for sure. And definitely look forward to this time next year doing the same thing for a 2024-2025 season, which hopefully will be even better than the one we just went through right now. So, which is crazy to say the least.
Yeah, I hope one of those ends up in more than one championship. And I would kind of want to add, like, real quick before we close, if you see me out and about, come up and say hi. I get messages on Twitter. Hey, I saw you. Didn't want to come and bother you. I love meeting fans. I love meeting other like-minded people like myself. Just come up. If you want to take a picture, we'll take a picture. I have no problem doing it. If you just want to say hi and tell me who you are and what you do, shake my hand, shake your hand. I'm happy to do it. I love every member of Wolfpack Nation. It's my favorite thing to meet other fans.
Which and I'll say that for all of us. I mean, obviously we're none of the other Tuffy Talk people are as famous as Greg for sure. But I mean, for all of us, whether if you see Macon, absolutely, Michael, myself, any of us around, definitely 100% stop us again. We love you guys. We appreciate y'all again. We're doing this for fun. We're doing this to celebrate all the amazing things that's going on with NC State, that even though, yes, there's always going to be moments of downtime, negative time, but the amount of positive is always going to vastly outnumber the negative, and we're going to enjoy and we're going to celebrate no matter what. And also too, again, because like within day, life is tough as it is. So, the biggest thing we want is that whenever you turn on a Tuffy Talk episode or you're listening to it, watching it, whatever it may be, that you can just sit back and enjoy, hopefully, an entertaining, conversation. So that's really the goal of what we do. Yep. And so,
we're just an outlet,
any one of us,
right? We're just an outlet. Exactly. Get away from real life for a few minutes.
That's right.
Just we like to have a good time. We don't take that's the other thing. We don't take ourselves serious. We know we're not experts. No. We're not professionals. Nope. We don't do this for, I say like and a ton of times. A professional would never do that. We're just having a good time, man. We're just having a conversation and just having fun, man. Life is too short. It's about. Have fun. Live it.
Amen. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, we appreciate y'all. We love you guys. Y'all are the best. We love being a part of Wolfpack Nation for sure, and we can't wait to be a part of it for the rest of our lives. Do or die, baby. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, make sure, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever we release any new content, which we're going to have a ton of fun stuff coming up here very, very soon during this off season to keep y'all entertained and keep y'all ready for football and soccer and all that to get started back up here soon. If you enjoyed this conversation, do us a big favor, hit that like button. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, make sure to leave a 5-star review. Greatly appreciate that as well. And make sure to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. But thank y'all so much for tuning in, and we'll see y'all soon, and go Pack, y'all.
Go Pack.